masters of terror. 3 stories to thrill and chill. This is Slashers. I was trying to channel my John Carpenter working in the morgue. What'd you think of it?
It was good. I liked it. You have to have a combination of the Crypt Keeper and Beetlejuice.
I think that's a perfect description.
Yeah.
The hair of the Jewess, but the sarcasm and snark of the Crypt Keeper.
Right. He just needs a little cackle at the end, and it would be perfect.
Isn't it nice to refer to the Crypt Keeper without it being insulting of someone? I feel like every time I ever mention X is like Crypt Keeper, it's like, sick burn, bitch.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, you're married. How
I
dope
am.
is that?
That's pretty sweet. Yeah. I mean, we were already living together, so it's not like it was once upon a time.
In thin.
I know, right? Where everybody gives us gifts like here is a toaster for your home. Like, no, we don't need that shit. We've already had it.
Yeah.
So
In the gifts that you opened the next day, my wife and I were talking about this. She was like, "Oh, I really liked that. It was a nice, cute thing that we did the day after our wedding." And I remember feeling so awkward. Like, I'm just opening a bunch of presents. Nobody's around. I can't say thank you. I'm just writing on a little pad of paper like, X got me Y. And I'm
yeah,
like,
you know what's funny about that is we didn't even wait till the next day.
What?
It was that night when we got back to the fucking house like greedy little people, like fucking, what do we have? No,
You
actually, it
fucking
was
goblins.
we opened up a bottle of wine. That was one of our gifts, which was funny. It was Game of Thrones wine. Actually, it was really good.
Hashtag
we,
too soon.
We opened up a bottle of wine. We went to we jumped in the spa.
Bone zone.
We jumped in the hot tub, and then we opened up all the presents.
You can finally admit that you've had intercourse now because you're married.
It was weird.
It was sticky and hot. What was the best gift that you got? Don't say who it was from. I had an itch in my nose, so it wasn't a pick, it was an itch.
I don't know. I think probably like what are those little Funko? Is it Funko?
Funko Pops.
Right, Funko Pop Night King from Game of Thrones, which was pretty fucking sweet.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Was that one of the white guys?
Yeah, one of the
The one who's like all on fire and was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly that guy.
Dude,
And
that guy pissed. So I have no context. I haven't watched Game of Thrones in season 1.
Right.
So I keep seeing this meme coming up where people are like, unvaccinated kids, and it's the fire, and then it's like vaccinated person because he's like completely impervious to the fire. I'm like, I have no context.
I have never seen that meme, but my God, that is awful.
There are so many, and people are so upset. I literally had. So this is weird. Attorney clients, I'm not supposed to talk to the other side's client.
Right.
But there was a situation where there were 3 of us standing next to the copy machine, and the applicant in the case was yelling about Game of Thrones and was yelling about not only the Starbucks cup, but the water bottle and freaking out in the middle of court. And I was like, this doesn't fucking matter. And I can't be talking to you anyway.
I can see why people are upset. It took a good portion of their lives. It was like 10 years plus. And then all of a sudden for it just end like that, like you did us all dirty. Like I'm pretty sure the writers are getting death threats.
Oh, for sure. And the guys who are doing it are supposed to do the next Star Wars trilogy. And so
yeah, that they can get fucked.
Well, it's the dichotomy because it's like people didn't like what's his face, Ryan Johnson's, and they were in the good graces. But now it's like the roles have reversed and time has favored Ryan Johnson because people are like, oh, well, at least you try to do something different. These guys are going to do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And also they ruined Game of Thrones. And I was like, why does it have to be either of them? Who gives a fuck?
But the beautiful thing about it, and this is looping back around to what we were originally talking about, there are some pretty sweet fucking memes about like how awful the ending of Game of Thrones is. And I'm not trying to give anything away to anybody. I didn't like it, and probably a majority of the other people didn't like it either.
It was like a petition that has over 1.5 million signatures to get the whole season redone.
Yeah, so apparently HBO like literally gave them all of the money. They're like, here, you can do as many seasons as you need. Do 3 or 4 more seasons so we can wrap up all of the loose ends and everybody's happy. And they're like, we got Star Wars. Fuck you guys.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. So and apparently, it took them 2 years to do this final season. That is 6 episodes.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. So I had watched the first season when it was current, and then I knew I'd have to wait for second season, so I just never caught back on, and my whole philosophy has been, and we've talked about this at length,
Wait
I
till
was
it's finished, and then you would sit down and watch it.
exactly,
But
especially
after all of this backlash, why the fuck would you want to?
I'm not gonna. It's just like with Lost. I've never watched a single episode of Lost because my plan at that time was I'll wait, I'll
Yep.
rent or buy the DVDs, and I'll check it out all at once. I don't want the
But you know
suspense.
what?
And everybody hated that ending. They're like, "This is the worst thing
I feel
ever.
like
This is genocide. This is
how
patricide.
I
This
feel
is
like how
infanticide."
epic the shows are.
If you say Red
It
Wedding to me, we're ending recording right now
shut
because
up.
everybody keeps saying like, "You need to at least see the Red
No,
Wedding."
no, I was gonna say, like, for how epic shows are and how long they are in, I guess, going through their whole thing, the ending is never what people expect it to be, right? Because I feel like everybody has their own way of thinking, okay, this is the perfect way this is going to end, and it never works,
Yeah,
right? Because obviously you're going off of two guys who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to the storyline. Because for the first like 5 seasons, they were going directly from the source, which is
easily.
the
Yeah,
books.
it's
N-
copy paste. Yeah.
Now they're going off of, oh fuck, we have to actually kind of have some sort of idea, or I don't know, come up with something that's going to be relevant and please everybody. And they just kind of, I don't know, they just fucking willy nilly.
I heard a great rebuttal. So, people are almost always upset by the ending of shows, and Stephen King brought up a great point, bringing back to horror.
Dexter, Seinfeld,
Yeah,
too, right there.
exactly. Stephen King was like, people don't like the ending because they don't want things to end. They want it to kind of go on in perpetuity. But I heard a great rebuttal, which was Futurama, which has ended multiple times and everyone is generally satisfying. I was
Yeah,
like, son of a bitch, that's a brilliant point.
yeah, it's totally true. But you can insert The Simpsons into this. How the fuck is that gonna end? It's not. It's just, I guess, just gonna keep going and going and going and
hmm
going. How is South Park gonna end?
God, remember that campaign last season when they're like, cancel South Park? And I was like, oh my God, you're so edgy. You told us to cancel your show. Meanwhile, you're advertising your show and the thing about it. Like, come on, dog. That's like getting your anarchy patch from Hot Topic.
Unless things get canceled, I don't know. I mean, things stay relevant, I guess, because they go off of what's going on in the news. You know, they hit up like the recent shit in the tabloids,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Well, those shows have the benefit of being something current. Like you've never heard of a fantasy series that goes on forever. Like the sort generally fantasy stuff is based on a source material like a book because there's so much literature on it. And then when it goes off into the weeds,
Right.
it ends. Versus like something like a sitcom where like Perfect Strangers is a perfect example. By the time that show ended, it was such a relief to be done with it
Yeah.
because they were clearly just like dredging up nothing.
I'm wondering if they maybe can. Obviously, they're doing prequels for Game of Thrones, which I think is kind of cool. But I kind of like the thought of like reviving shows that maybe were cut short.
Like body
Firefly.
bags. Oh, keep going. No,
I was
that's a
just
good
gonna
point.
say Firefly,
Yeah, that's a
right?
great point.
I don't know.
It's well received, and there's the fan outcry for it. I've really been surprised that somebody like Amazon hasn't picked it up. But anyway, that ties in beautifully with this week's episode, Body Bags, which was originally conceived to be Showtime's rat-a-tat competition with HBO's Tales from the Crypt. So they had conceived it. Apparently, these two writers pestered John Carpenter's staff for months to try and get him to read it. He was like, I don't like anthologies. I don't want to do that. But then when it was presented as an idea for a TV show, he's like, all right, let's talk about this. And it never got off the ground. So they just turned it into a movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the thought of having short 30-minute movies because you don't have to invest in really any of your time,
Mhm.
right? Um,
But this is like
it's
we've talked about, like, I love horror shorts because it's so great. You can just get it over it with in a succinct amount of time.
right, right, with it being so short, they can't afford to have any scenes where it just like drudges on,
Oh god, yeah.
right? It just constantly keeps moving.
Well, there are even some scenes in this where you could have trimmed some fat, but I think that's because they were doing really minimal set pieces and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, hair is probably the weakest one to me, even though it has the best effects, arguably. It's just like there are some scenes where he's sitting there looking in the mirror and petting his hair.
Right,
You're like
right. He's going through all the hair products and whatnot. Yeah,
3 or 4 seconds
it's a
less
little
here or there. Yeah.
tedious. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. That's a perfect word for it. So, Brian, shall I get into some butt fucking trivia?
do it.
Made for television, blah, blah, blah. Showtime originally intended, blah, blah, blah. An interview, blah, blah, blah. Carpenter, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he described the project as fun, quick, and easy, like my sex life. Heyo. Anyway, that's all I have. We actually organically brought up all of my trivia for it. How neat is
Yeah,
that?
that's awesome.
Shall we do the stabtistics for the week?
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
Super minimal. I don't got shit to say because this wasn't a film in
Yeah,
terms of
it's not like there's an opening box office. I mean, there's an opening like when they came out with the film, but there's not like a gross or really anything, right?
or budget. I mean, the big problem is because it was being conceived as a TV anthology series, it's indeterminate as to how much it costs because it wasn't just that. The planning, the development, and all that was meant to be much longer. And it was shot on a low budget, but conceived with a big budget. So it's kind of
Right, right,
amorphous in that
right.
capacity as well. So I'm trying to look. I realized that I could still do the competition. I had kind of nihilistically been like, that doesn't mean shit. And now
So,
I'm like,
are
oh,
you doing competition based off of like TV series, or are you going off of what came out in theater?
just what came out in theaters.
Okay.
Okay, so August. Oh, yeah, this is funny enough. This is the week after So I Married an Axe Murderer. So it's
Fuck that movie.
the Fugitive, The Meteor Man, My Boyfriend's Back, The Wedding Banquet, Heart and Soul, and Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. So that's neat. But yeah. Oh, and also The Secret Garden, whatever the fuck that's all
I
about.
think it's about.
Yeah, I wish it smelled like a garden.
Isn't that what the Secret Garden's about?
Sure. Isn't it's about the sick little kid who's like,
Oh
my legs
God,
don't work.
maybe I am so wrong.
Oh, you were being legit. I thought that you were being jokey
I
joke
thought it
man.
was kind of like Eden's Garden. Like, nope,
Hey,
never mind.
Chad, can you Google? Make sure to go to incognito mode so your wife doesn't see you searching garden pussies. Sorry, garden vaginas. I don't want to be pejorative. The movie, it
Yeah,
is it was August 8th, 1993.
893.
Yep. The runtime, 91 minutes.
That's awesome.
Oh,
It
so
was
nice.
perfect. It
It's
was
like
perfect.
slipping into a warm bath.
So if it's 91 minutes, that probably means each film, give or take, I'm thinking is about 20 to 25 minutes with about 15 minutes of dialogue in between.
I'd say it's more like 27 minutes because well, yeah, I
27 minutes
I know
per.
I'm being hyper technical, but it's just like, when you think about how like John Carpenter kind of chews the scenery and he does a really good job, but really his portions are super minimal just because
Yeah,
I
they
was
really are. They
yeah.
really are. So yeah, I could
But
see that.
that's a good thing to me. Like I wasn't trying to correct you in a negative way. I'm trying to just state it because
Just to adjust the amount of time that the movie you're increasing the movie time and taking away some of Carpenter's time because you should.
yeah, and
You
I think
shouldn't
that's
take
great.
away from the actual
Because
film.
there are some times when the Crypt Keeper is talking and I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck.
Just get on with the
You're
film.
a puppet.
Right.
Stop. But I say that when I'm watching Fox News all the time. Hey yo. I don't watch Fox News. That's the joke. Directed by John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper. John Carpenter directed 2 of the segments. Tobe Hooper just recorded or directed rather Hair. So there you go. When did you know that Tobe Hooper had directed a Billy Idol music video?
That's pretty sweet.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Billy Idol. So you with your Game of Thrones can have your red wedding. I'm gonna be over here with Billy Idol with my white
Is it
wedding.
the White Wedding? Is that what he
White
directed?
wedding. No, it was
Oh.
Dancing with Myself.
Oh,
Where
okay.
there's like the weird zombies and he's up on the rooftop and they're yeah, talking about jerking his dick off.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
pretty
everybody
sweet.
thought that Green Day was so edgy for Bite My Lip and Close My Eyes, Take Me Away to Paradise. And I was like, come on, let's
Billy
give
Idol
credit
did
where it's
that
due.
way long ago.
Yeah. And in 1993, Tobe Hooper also released Night Terrors.
Hmm.
The More You Know. Written by Billy Brown and Dan Angel. So at the time that this movie was done, Dan had only written one thing, which was the homemade comedy special in 1984. And yet he was so confident in this product that he created with his writing partner that he presented it and got this made by a major network.
Homemade comedy special?
Yeah. It doesn't even have a picture on IMDb. It's just a blank thing.
I'm actually kind of interested to see what the fuck's that's all
It's just
about.
him, and he has, like, a cat that he put, like, a funny hat on, and he's like, "Hey, mom, will you look at me? I'm wearing my britches."
I like it.
So Billy directed 13 episodes of Saturday Night Live. Then he did 2 episodes of Extreme Ghostbusters, 1 episode of X-Files, 12 episodes of Goosebumps, 1 episode of Animorphs, The Haunting Hour, and Monsterville.
Wow.
Jesus Christ, that is the most, like, kid-friendly '90s thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's funny because they're all kind of lumped into the same kind of genre,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah,
Uh,
that's pretty cool.
they both worked on Young Blades. Have you ever heard of that?
Uh-uh.
It's because it's fucking terrible, but it's a Three Musketeers modernization.
That's funny how you did that. You said it's fucking terrible, and then you followed it with but.
Fucking terrible, but
Because otherwise, any other time you would say it the other way.
butt fucking? I don't wanna offend anybody's sensibilities.
Mm.
So, of night yeah, we're going. Music by John Carpenter and Jim Lang.
Okay.
You can totally tell Carpenter's stamp on this. Makeup by Rick Baker. He did 3 hours of makeup for John Carpenter a day on this.
That's crazy.
But it looks great. I think
No, it
it's
looks
awesome.
really good. Absolutely.
And he also won some form of award for it, but I don't remember what. It's some minor kind of award.
Like, at
So
quick glance, I'm just like, "Oh, that's Michael Keaton."
oh, with, John Carpenter?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife, I was like, "Do you know who
Beetlejuice.
that is?" And she was just kind of at a loss. I was kind of trying to give her breadcrumbs for each, but she's not deeply entrenched in horror. So when I said John Carpenter, I was really pleased that she knew because she was, everybody knows my favorite serious, like straight horror film is John Carpenter's The Thing. And very often I'll refer to it as such to specifically distance it from the Elizabeth Winstead remake or
Right,
whatever,
right, right.
prequel, whatever you will. And so she knew, and I was like, yes, yes, we're getting there, baby.
There's a reason
Yeah.
I married you.
Truly, finally, after all these years. Anyway, is it time for nicknames, Brian?
Dick names.
Snick names,
Let's
prick
do it.
names. All right, John Carpenter as the coroner. Does he need a nickname? Can we just call him the Crypt Keeper? I just think it's a little on the nose. What do you think?
Either like, Beetle Keeper or Crypt Juice.
Crypt Juice. Yes, that sounds delicious. Tom Arnold was the morgue worker. Tobe Hooper was the other morgue worker. They don't need names because they say 2 lines a pop, I think. In The Gas Station, which was directed by John Carpenter, we had Robert Carradine as Bill, who you'll remember from Escape LA, Revenge of the Nerds, and Sharktopus versus Terracuda.
I think more often than not, it's, Revenge of the Nerds for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget his name. What was his name in Revenge of the Nerds?
I can Google it.
I can't even think of it.
I'm gonna say I'm putting my money on Nerdotron 69.
I
Do you
mean,
think
we could
that's
just
it?
call him Nerd.
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 Whatever, nerd.
Fucking nerd.
Nerd. Let's just keep stretching it. Keep saying nerd over and over again while I Google Revenge of the Sith Nerds.
So next we have Alex Datcher as Anne. So
He was Lewis. That's a boring ass name. Fuck Lewis,
Lewis.
nerd.
Yeah, that's right. It was Lewis. Fucking Lewis.
Yeah.
That'd be nerd.
Alex Dasher, like you said, Anne. She was in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Suck it, Robbie. 18 Wheels of Justice. I don't know what that is, but I think we need to be watching it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Texas Justice. You ever
Ooh.
watch that show? It's like
No.
Judge Judy with a redneck.
Does everybody end up on like the electric chair?
No, but that'd be so awesome. This here fella says that you didn't sell him a dog you were contracted to sell him. Get in the chair. But, Your Honor, go on, get. Anyway,
Do we have a nickname for Alex? Datcher? Anne?
I don't know.
No,
She was not that great. So I don't know what. We'll
Nothing.
do anything that you want for
Nope,
her.
I got nothing.
We'll call her Training Day because it's her first day, and it's also a reference to a movie that was pretty good.
Okay, I like it.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Remember Training Day?
Is that from Train?
Yeah, he says it at the end when he's like freaking out.
No, I really know. I do
Oh,
know it's from Train.
You just wanted me to hit myself in the chest again. Have you ever heard of Yogi Ramesh?
No.
Okay, so Yogi Ramesh is very famous for doing this thing called laughing yoga. It's awesome. I think it's a beautiful thing, but it's also fucking hilarious to laugh at and laugh with. One of the things he does, because he knows it's absurd, but the idea is that breathing and laughing helps your blood flow and helps everything about yoga, helps you relax.
Okay.
So it purposely kind of makes himself look like an idiot to get his students to benefit from it. So one of the things he does is, I am happy, I am relaxed. I am happy, I am relaxed. Boo, 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 boo. It's hilarious. So to my baby who's 13 months old, I go, "Boo, boo, 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 boo," and I poke her in the
And
belly.
she loves it.
Oh, and then she takes her fingers and she starts pecking herself in the chest, and she's like, "Ba, ba, 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 ba." So that's what I just reminded myself of. I went from
Nice. I
Denzel
like it.
Washington to a yogi who's 90 years old to a 13-month-old baby. That's the way my brain works.
I like it.
So
They have weird yoga, like
oh, yeah.
yoga with goats.
Yeah,
Have you heard of that?
I have.
I mean,
Actu
I'm not knocking it. I would wanna do yoga with goats, but
well, it's sad because it's specifically baby goats, and I'm like, "What happens when they get too old?" Does anybody ask these hard questions? Because I asked a yogi when I bought my wife, her Mother's Day present, and she was like, "I don't know." Like, I feel like you should know,
Mm,
but also their studio doesn't do it. We have Wes Craven as, quote, "pasty-faced man." Just
mm,
creeper.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's good. Sam Raimi as Dead Bill.
Dead Bill.
Can we call him Evil Dead Bill?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's fair. Lucy Boyer as Peggy, also from The Next Generation. Doesn't really merit any other discussion because she's pretty minimal. So,
Hmm.
George Buck uh, Flower, or George quote Buck Flower as Stranger. So let me talk to you about this. This dude made a career of looking like ass and dirty. He was a hobo in Back to the Future, They Live, Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
That
He
is
was
so awesome.
yeah, his experience as a beggar goes all the way back to 1979 when he was in a movie called what was it? Up Yours. So he by the time this movie came out, he'd been playing a beggar for 14 years.
That's so fucking cool.
Do you wanna know the weird part?
What?
This dude is, like, deep in the porn game.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he played Boris Clitoris in Mother Knows Best in
Oh,
1971. There
no.
is so much porn in dude's IMDb. It was like, "And you got on the Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue Dog?"
I
And he was
don't
in another Power Ranger show too.
I don't understand how you can follow this dude does a bunch of porn by the porn, name Mother Knows Best. I'm not sure I wanna know.
I think that goes back to what I talked about, finding on Reddit, the unironic Wincest thing. This
Ugh.
is what your fucking Game of Thrones did. It normalized people being weirdos. Hey, Alabama, thanks for not having an exception for that.
Yeah, that's probably where the fucking Lannisters are from.
Yeah, you fucks, you fucking cucks. If we have any listeners in Alabama, I'm not mad at you personally. I'm very mad. Peter Jason as Gent. He's the fun guy. That's like, do I need them to take a piss and thing, little cute girl? You want to go out there? I liked him a
Got it.
lot.
Yeah. He had a nice little southern charm.
He was also in Escape from LA. He was also in They Live, and then he was in Mortal Kombat. So 2 other John Carpenter things,
How
and
the
then
fuck was he in Mortal Kombat?
I don't know. I looked at it, I was like, "Okay."
Was he Kano?
No. But he wasn't Raiden because I was like, "No, that's Christopher Lambert or Lambert," however you wanna do it. And then
Lambert. That sounds
the guy
better.
who played Ajax was Raiden in the second one when he had a flat top.
Hmm.
Remember when he was
He
Guile?
definitely was not Liu Kang.
No. Or Goro.
No, nah, definitely not Goro.
And
He
then there
might have
were
been like a guard.
there you go. Molly Cheek was the divorcee. Here's a fun thing. She would later team up with Sam Raimi again when she was in Drag Me to Hell, and she made a brief appearance in Spider-Man 2.
Molly Cheek was D-Force.
She was the one who's like, the gasoline's not coming out of the pump.
Why is she a divorcee?
I know, it's just what the title is.
Really?
Yeah, it's kinda
They
weird.
didn't like emphasize like any way that
Yeah,
she would be a divorcee.
yeah,
Huh.
but
Okay.
it was a little weird. So, do you wanna do it where we do the nicknames for each segment as we go into it? I think that's a little bit more effective.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Because
So
otherwise it gets a bit overboard.
long in the tooth.
Yeah.
So, I'll do the recapitation for gas station, and then Brian's gonna start with the slay-by-play.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So, basically, the news, whether it be the TV or the radio, indicates that there are bodies of young girls being found, and a young lady finds it her first night working at a gas station overnight, and
Craziness ensues.
exactly.
Yep.
There we go. So, Brian, take it away.
All right. The way it starts out is you have the opening scene. Okay, so I don't get where you say MGM style. I'm like, what does
Oh,
MGM style mean?
so that goes back to the original opening where it's John Carpenter as Crypt Juice. When they do the intro, there's the 187 films, and he's wielding a chainsaw, and it's in kind of this thing where he's popping out a little bit. It was just kind of reminded me of the MGM
Oh,
lion.
got it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he makes a joke we'll go into that. It's a good point. That he calls the dead the arriving departed. Great pun. He drinks some formaldehyde. Gr- Hilarious. He says, "Oh yeah," he is talking about the beauty being what's inside of someone as he's gutting a corpse. Hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he gets upset that so many of the bodies died of
Right,
natural
right. He's
causes.
checking the toe tags.
Yeah,
He's like, natural causes, natural causes. And then he says, "What's great thing? One great thing about body bag is it's always somebody that's murdered. There's always some fun story behind it, right?"
I love the concept because when you just hear body bags, you're like, all right. But then when you realize the premise of the show was
Yeah.
going to be this character who, spoiler alert, is a corpse himself, you find out at the end, going around to other bodies and being like, oh, how did this person die?
Right, right.
Super
It's really
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then we go into the gas station.
Yeah. So with the gas station, the way it starts out is we have the girl Alex, I believe is her name. I don't know if it's a real name. It's
Training day
training day. That's right. We have training day getting dropped off um by her friend.
and
Apparently
roommate.
is it her roommate too?
Yeah, I think so.
No. I thought that was just kind of like a snarky dig that she does where she's like, "You're going back to an empty apartment." Like, bitch, you don't have no man.
Oh shit, dog. That's crueler.
um, so they hear on the radio that apparently there's a deranged psycho out there who's killing all kinds of people, right? Um, so she says, "Oh, that's really scary. You're gonna be out here all at night." And she's like, "Well, at least I'm not going home to an empty apartment, bitch." Um,
Your merit is based on your ability to get a dick.
and she says, "Can you pick me up in the morning?" She says, "I don't know." And she's like, "Well, I'll buy you some breakfast." And she's
And
like,
she's
"Sure."
like, it's the only sausage you gonna get, bitch.
She's like, "Sure, why not?" Um, she walks up to kind of like, I don't know what you would call it, the gas station
Kiosk.
fucking kiosk,
Yeah.
right? It's a little hut. Um, and that's when you meet Bill, quote unquote.
Not Bill.
Bill, not Bill.
Yeah. The nerd. You meet Nerd Bill.
Right, right. So then Bill kind of goes over everything with her as far as where the employee lounge is, which is
Where you drop a deuce.
the bathroom. Here are the keys, the door locks. He makes sure to say that, which is really cool, right? Because it
Mhm.
sets it up. He says, make sure that you have the keys because the door automatically locks.
Well, and it's like it's a logical breadcrumb. Like
Yeah.
it plays into the story later, but it makes sense that he's telling her, so it's not like redundant. And then he also makes it clear to give her his phone number if there's ever any crises,
Yeah.
which I really like when it comes into play later. You're like, oh, that's so simple. And
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. That's funny because I didn't even think about it until because she uses the phone and I think she's originally gonna call the cops,
yeah.
but it goes straight to the phone that he answers.
Well, so I thought that's what it was, but I think it's that she dials the number that he gives her, the
And it
555.
goes straight to, like, the office?
Yeah, the office.
Huh,
So for if you're trying to visualize, there's the like maintenance mechanics office that also has a phone because he later answers it there when he's wielding a machete.
that's right, that's right.
So
So,
yeah,
yeah,
but
so he says basically, "Good luck, these are the ins and outs of working the gas station late at night."
did
Um,
it occur to you that her outfit is incredibly fashionable by today's standards?
yeah,
Like the
absolutely.
black tight shirt tucked into pants, mom jeans. I remember being like, I even put a note like, "This is super fashionable." And then she puts on, like the mechanic shirt, and I think it says what I have a note. It's John, and I was like, "This is so Jim Halpert, Dave." Do you remember
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
absolutely.
keep going.
No, so, she starts her day night, I should say. And she just seems like she's kind of bored. And then what happens? I think who comes first?
Wes Craven.
Was it Wes Craven? That's right. That's right. It's Wes Craven, and he's kind of stumbling around. He
Yeah.
seems very very drunk.
Yeah, he offers her some bourbon, and it's clear he's been dipping in that bottle
Yeah,
already.
he's got some bourbon in the car. And, if she wants to come back to the car and have a little sippy sippy sucky sucky with him,
Which is hilarious. It's like, I'm at my job. I could go use the money from my job to buy my own booze. It's
right?
not like crystal meth where he's like, "You gotta suck my dick to get this crystal meth." It was so weird the way he
Yeah,
presented it.
yeah, it was a little awkward.
Did you like his entrance? Because she's sitting there studying her book, and then there's the body form comes behind her.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
It was good. They did it a couple times, and I think it's effective because she's so encased in glass, and it's like a fishbowl.
Right.
There's all these spooky things that could potentially happen out there, and it's the illusion of safety, but also she doesn't feel safe even in there, so I thought that
Yeah,
was good.
absolutely, and the more you think about it, like, where it's just a glass window in front of you and nothing else, your peripherals are completely blocked.
Yeah,
Right? Where anything can pop out and you have no idea what's gonna happen. You just have what's in front of you and that's it. So if somebody comes out from the side and you're busy fucking studying whatever the fuck you're studying, psychology, I think is what you
that is
said?
correct.
Yeah. Then it seems like it'd be pretty scary, especially late at night. So, yeah.
So, Wes Craven eventually skulks away,
Yep.
and you're like, "I don't need
I
no
think I
fancy
think it
book
shows
learning."
him, like, drive off in his car, right?
Yes, I think so. And
That's it.
then we have our friend from episode was it 2 or 3? David Naughton from An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
Ah.
shows up, and he's like the charming cool guy
Yep, absolutely, and
who
it's
can't
funny
fight worth a fucking dick
because she is so reactive to each person that she encounters. Um,
in such
at
a
first,
drastically different way.
at first she's very like repulsed, right? And it's clearly showing in her face the way she reacts. And then you have American Werewolf in London come up with his like Rico Suave, and she is like kind of like twirling her
Ooh.
yeah, she's like twirling her hair and like acting like very sassy with him.
What is it with this guy's animal magnetism?
I know,
He
right?
gets that nurse to, like, let him live with her, go to Bone Zone, and then with this chick, she's about to throw her fucking pussy through this goddamn window at his face.
Yeah, man. And
That's the second time I dropped the P word. I'm sorry, ladies. I
the
love all y'all
the
and your
poo
P words.
the Poonan.
Yeah, there we go. Is that better or worse? I don't know. I
The
always loved
how
poontang,
about the Tang?
the tang. We're
Um,
talking about the orange drink that they sent up into fucking space.
that's right, with a monkey.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think it was
absolutely.
technically an ape,
Oh, yeah, okay.
an orangutan. Sorry, Brian.
What was the, what was the, primate and, the omen? What was it?
Oh, it's a baboon.
The
Baboon.
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 So, he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, here's my card."
Credit card.
He disappears behind the car. She kinda looks up, like, really, like, scared, like, "Oh, shit, where the fuck did he go?" Apparently, he was checking his tire or something. He pops up, and she's like, "Oh, everything's fine."
It's good. Those little fake outs with the relief that she feels is very
Yeah,
clear. I
yeah,
like it a lot.
absolutely, absolutely, and it also shows that she's a little tense for, her
Absolutely.
first night being on the job.
And she's putting on a
Um
strong face for her,
Right,
like, roommate and
absolutely.
stuff, but yeah.
And then, she used some sort of machine where she slid the fucking
The
credit.
carbon copy machine, man.
Wait, that's a thing?
So, yeah, so what they used to do to scan your card, they'd put it down, and they'd take this carbon copy paper, and they'd run it over, so there's 3 copies of the paper.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why the guy says to her that she needs to get the driver's license plate of everybody, because none of this is computerized. What they would do at the end of the month or whatever is they would mail it in, and then that's how they get paid.
No, I did know that. I'm
Oh,
just
fuck. I was
Everybody was like, "Come on, Brian."
Chad is freaking out because Chad's got a couple years on us, fellas.
Yeah, so she basically makes a copy, and it's funny because it's like, it very clearly sounds like a shotgun being fucking loaded right now. She's being very flirty with him, I guess. He takes off. He says something along the lines of, "Oh, there's a place downtown you should go check out."
The Oak Lounge,
I
yeah.
think he asks her what she's studying, right? Does he like make
Yeah.
small talk,
And
right?
she says
She
psychology,
says
same thing.
psychology.
It's interesting because it mirrors the first conversation, but it shows that because he's not leering, she's a
Right,
warmer person.
absolutely. And because he is a lot more attractive than disheveled fucking drunk dude,
Yeah.
then
And he drives a way nicer car.
I'm more willing to indulge you, I
Let's be
guess.
real. If I'm getting raw dogged in any kind of car, I want that David Naughton convertible. I want
That's
to be
it.
able to spread out.
With the hair, with the wind going over the hair. Yep, absolutely. Why not? So he takes off, right? And she's just like fucking I feel like she is imagining like sucking him off as she has the card in her hand because she's like rubbing it around her face. And then she's like, "Oh fuck, I have his card."
And then
And
she's like, "Oh, fuck, I should run it out to him." And then she's like, "Oh, fuck, I left the keys inside." Like, ugh.
yeah, yeah. So it was like
And
one after another.
my wife was like, 'cause she watches with me, was like, "God damn it." And she was so annoyed that this lady did that. And I'm like, "But what I like about it is it's so, like, humdrum. This isn't like her doing something like running upstairs from a slasher.
Right,
This is
absolutely.
my
This is
first
something that
day."
I feel like anybody could do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, how many times do I walk off without my fucking wallet? At least probably once a month. Yeah. I'm just freaking out going through all of my things at work. Hey babe, did you see my wallet before you left? Oh yeah, it's on the dresser. Oh my god. Thank God. Meanwhile,
You call your credit
I'm
card
like
company back,
canceling all my shit. Like, oh, just kidding, just kidding.
calling
It's fine.
Citibank and being like, "Can I uncancel my card?" And they're like, "What? No?
Yeah, they already sent me 2 cards. Son of a bitch.
Fuck!" So then when she realizes she's locked out, you get the great misdirect of the hobo. That one was a little bit more obvious, when he comes up. My wife totally fell for it with like the lumbering kind of weirdness behind it.
Right,
But I was like,
right.
no chance this is the bad guy.
Yeah, no chance, no chance. Although it was fun how she kept on looking back and he was like closer,
Yeah.
right? So it was like you didn't actually see him walking closer towards her. She would just go from one area to another and then she would look back and he would be like 5 steps closer.
So she knows that the backup key is over in the mechanic shop. So she checks each door, they're locked. But luckily, the roll up door is open. So she goes in, and this is great. As she's rummaging around to find the key, she accidentally knocks over a picture frame. When she picks up the picture frame, it's shattered over this person's face. And you
Employee
look,
of the month.
and it's Bill. Bill was the nerd at the beginning.
But it wasn't Bill.
It's not the same guy. Who is this? This is Sam Butt fucking Raimi, director of Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, Spider-Man, Drag Me to Hell, a number of things.
That's what's fun about body bags. It's the little things,
Yeah.
right? They're throughout.
Well, I like give people like the credit that they're due. I love when directors have cameos and they get to do something because so much of a movie and its style and its presentation is dependent on one person that generally kind of falls behind. I've heard people kind of be sarcastic about like, a Wes Craven movie directed by Wes Craven, whatever. And it's like, why shouldn't it be? I mean, he
Yeah.
has insight over every edit, every sound design,
Right,
the
right,
whole thing.
right.
If they're doing their job. If they're just somebody who's phoning in a check, it's different. But these guys are all masters of the craft. Like I think that the tagline of this movie with them being masters is true.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of makes me wonder who started it when it comes to starring or guest appearing in their own like film or what they directed.
Hitchcock was in a lot. It makes I think a cameo in
Does
everything.
cameoed in like a bunch of his shit.
Yeah, you can. Well, I mean, he doesn't ever. I don't think that he ever has a speaking role that I recall, but he walks through the scenes and everything.
Okay.
In Psycho, he's walking in front of the office where the Jamie Lee Curtis's mom works, and
Yeah, that's really fun.
I love
That's
it.
really fun.
It's great. Although I think that Hitchcock's wife should have been in it, but that's a completely different story. Hey-yo, bing bong boom. She gets the key. She goes back. She tries to use the phone. Here's
So she gives him the key. He
Yep.
kind of like laughs a little bit and then he just like stumbles off. Right. So then
this is where the gent and the divorcee show up.
Right. This is when they pull up in their sweet ass fucking massive boat of a car that people used to drive back in the day.
Totally reminds me
Like
of
a
Fear and
fucking
Loathing.
tank.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So, he's like, give me that super unleaded. And you can tell it's a fun character.
Because he's
super
both like,
southern.
like he's cantankerous and like he's
He's
he's rowdy but
He's
good natured.
lighthearted. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
you're like, what's a pretty little thing like you doing in there? And you could see how that's sexist, but she doesn't take it as such because it's good natured. He's not like,
Right.
what's a pretty thing like you doing? Why don't you rub that pussy on my face? He's like, you should go be doing something fun at your own consenting desires.
Right. You should be out partying, So
Because as they say, partying is such sweet sorrow.
he asks basically
Sorry, Brian.
he basically asks, where can I go to drain the main vein? So she says, there's actually a weird guy in there. Do you think you could go check it out because he has the key? He's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, pretty little thing. And he just goes and walks off. Then you have the divorcee. Apparently, it's a divorcee. Nobody knows why she's a divorcee. She's from Uncle Buck and probably a few other things, but that's I grew up watching Uncle Buck, so she's Uncle Buck. So she asks how to start filling up the car. She says you have to lift up the handle, which apparently that was a thing. You
Mhm.
have to lift up it must be like older gas
There are
stations.
even some
I
now that do it, yeah.
Really? Because I don't ever recall doing having that. But uh, age thing, I guess. Chad knows.
Yeah, so she tries to yell it to the lady at first, and then she's like, "Fuck, fine, I'll do it."
So
But this time
she's about to leave, and then she's like, "Ah, fuck, I better grab the keys."
yep, which I like, it's showing those, the development of the
Yep, it
character.
shows the steps in motion.
She goes out, she literally just flicks the handle on the pump and it works. The guy comes out and he's like, "Man, that there hobo's sleeping on the toilet.
Yeah,
I had
he
to
had to
piss over his head." Which is just like
it's so fun.
it's good-natured and
Yeah.
shitty at the same
Yeah,
time.
it is. It
Yeah.
is shitty.
He doesn't wanna wake the
Um,
guy up, but he's not afraid to get pee flecks rather on his face.
yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of pee pee never hurt anybody. That's what
So
R. Kelly says anyway.
so they take off, and from there she's by herself, right? And she is just hanging out. All of a sudden, she sees this is the part, correct me if I'm wrong, where you see the car lift up,
Correct.
right?
And she's like,
And
"Oh, fuck."
right, and then, okay, I was watching this with Michelle, and she sees the car pump go up, and then she sees the girl grab the wrench, and then she sees the girl leave the safe kiosk, right?
Well, this is where
Because
she
you're
tries to
thinking,
call and she can't get through, and she's like it's like, "Don't do that."
like, why? Why are you leaving? No, you see somebody pushing a lift up and down. That's fine.
Well, she doesn't see the person. That's the thing that makes it scary.
That's fine. That's fine. You see a lift going up and down. You think you're by yourself. Stay the fuck where you are.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think she's also realizing she made another mistake by not closing that roll cage.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think that it's a CYA thing. And when she gets over there, you were telling me that you actually got a little jump scare in this one.
I did. It was the only part of this film that actually scared the fuck out of me, and it's really silly to say she stepped on the air hose.
I love it. I've heard that sound a million times. My grandpa's old machine shop and stuff. That and it's quick.
I deal with air hoses all the time at work. I know what they are. It didn't seem like that was something that was going to happen in the film,
But
and
it's a
that's
good
how it
bit.
should be.
Well, yeah, like it's a good little bit because like when people pop out from behind her and they're walking in the background, the music is what makes that supposed to be
Right,
startling, but it's
right,
not.
right.
This is something that's completely organic and it's a startling sound. I totally get it. I think it's really effective.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So what she do? She find out that the hobo's in the car.
Right, and what's cool is you can actually they do a side shot of the truck, and you see a body. You don't exactly know what it is. You don't know if it's a person waiting for her, or you don't know if it's a dead body, whatever. You just see kind of like a silhouette of a body. Um, so then it shows a close up of her looking into the car or into the truck, and that's when you see the throat cut. And mm,
A little overdone. The finding the slit throat body that looks like it's just sleeping. But yeah.
yeah, it's a bit overdone. At the same time, I feel like after you know how the throat has been cut, I feel like they could have done a lot more because it
Oh
was
yeah.
with a fucking machete.
But I think the point is that she sees just a body form, so she's not
Right,
intimidated.
right. And then that's
Yeah.
what, creates the chaos that ensues.
So she backs away timidly. She knocks over an oil
And
can,
yep,
and which is good because it comes into play later.
yep.
She runs off, and then she ends up calling Bill, and it goes to the service station, and he answers, and then he starts coming towards her with a machete and a sledge, and that was a very intimidating thing with the sledge.
Yeah.
I love that shot where it's her perspective of looking out of the gas
Oh
station. It's
yeah,
that
it's
perfect
perfect.
framed window,
It's
and
perfect.
he just sledges it through.
Yeah.
That's the coolest, most artistic part for me. I don't
Yeah,
know why I like it so
absolutely.
much.
Well, because it's a perfect frame reference of the window,
Yeah.
right? So it focuses in directly like you're her looking out at him coming at you with a sledgehammer. So
And
it
it's like the
just, I mean,
powerlessness.
it puts you in her shoes,
Mhm.
and essentially,
You're like a fish in a fishbowl, and you're like, "If somebody breaks this glass, I'm fucked, and there's nothing I can do to stop them."
right, right. It's definitely the POV kind of scare.
Yeah,
And yeah, when I was watching this, I remember Michelle saying, "I don't know what the fuck I would do."
yeah.
Yeah, she because it
Well, the
literally
thing
puts you into perspective like you were in the film.
Yeah, because if you know, if you could act out, you wouldn't have the protection between you. So the thing protecting you is also limiting you from taking any overt action. It's kind of
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
catch-22.
The and I was doing the same thing. I'm like, "Okay, I'm waiting for one of those sledges to land, and then I'm reaching out and I'm grabbing the sledge as it goes through the window.
Yeah,
I'm trying to take a weapon from him." I don't
ideally.
know. Mm.
But she goes and hides in the employee lounge, and this is when she opens the locker. I don't know, she's looking for
And she finds his real Bill.
Yep.
Real Bill.
Ugh, he collapses on top of her. So then he comes in, he's gonna attack her, and she hits him in the face with a steel chair.
Hell yeah, man.
It's not really a steel chair, but it's a chair.
It's definitely fucking hard enough to smack the fuck out of him.
And his nose gets broken, and he's laying on the floor twitching, and I was like, "God damn it, don't walk away."
Yep,
Just walks away. I'm
yep.
like,
Nobody ever double taps.
"What is this?" Like,
Yeah.
at least give him a stomp to the temple.
Yeah, yeah. Michelle's like, dude, I would kick him in the nuts so fucking hard while he's on the ground.
Or lock him in somewhere. I
Yeah,
don't know,
I can
do
see it.
something, but then
Yeah.
he just follows her, and he tries to grab her and falls down, and he says, "Bitch," and then she runs away again.
Which is funny because I'm looking at the notes and I was thinking the same thing. Like she's running for her life. She just clearly knocked this guy down. Um, she's not gonna turn around and double check like at all. Nothing. She
Crazy.
just I don't know. I get it. It creates the craziness. He's gonna get her again, and you see him coming, but she doesn't,
Yep.
right? So you're like, oh my god, turn around. So you
Turn
know,
around. But anyway,
take a shot.
she can't see anything because I guess she doesn't have peripheral vision. So then she runs to the pump, and then he follows her to the pump, and then she runs into the mechanic station, and he follows her into the mechanic station. And this is where David Naughton
Yeah.
shows up, and he's like, "I'm gonna swing my big dick around," and then he
Yeah,
gets his
so
ass
he
kicked.
yeah, he fucking gets wrecked. So he gets his ass beat. So he gets knocked out or doesn't get knocked out. He gets fucking thrown to the ground. Um, Nerd turns around, wants to fucking handle it because he has her up in the air. She goes into the car to try and leave. He pushes the lift up. So she puts on the gas. You see the tires moving, but nothing's happening.
She's
So
quite literally spinning her wheels.
exactly. So he's coming at her. I think he has his machete,
Yep.
right? So he's coming at her with a machete. The same oil can spill that happens from before, where she originally sees the dead guy, comes into play now, where he takes a step forward, he slips on the oil, he falls underneath the truck.
And
That's when
did you
she.
do the sound effect, the
I did not,
No.
but good call. Um,
So she brings
she
the hammer down.
she fucking lowers down the press, smashes him to death, and they
Did you
both.
like the blood?
Yeah,
I loved it. The
yeah,
campy color and the
yeah.
it's not blood at all. Like it's way too thin. It's not viscous enough. It's way too bright, but I just loved the image on that the contrast of like the bland
Yeah,
cement. It was great.
yeah, absolutely, and they both live happily ever after.
And the reason he comes back, quote,
Oh,
"I
I
forgot my
forgot my
credit
credit
card."
card.
I loved it. I would
Yeah,
have
yeah.
loved if it was like, I forgot my American Express, even though it's like a Citibank.
That's
Could
funny.
you imagine the whole thing's been a commercial? Oh, that'd be delightful. And then we return to the morgue where he's giving therapy to this mangled corpse. He talks about having necrophilia cabinets. That's good. He's pulling one of the bodies out of the
Oh, the
drawer,
fake
the
boobies.
giant fake tits, and he talks about them getting in the way. And he's like,
He's like,
these should
"We
be
we
recycled.
recycled." Yeah.
Very fun. He makes two severed heads kiss, which reminded me of Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, that's
Me, me,
right.
me, me, me. Which David Naughton is also in as the shitty dad.
I didn't know that.
Remember, he's the fat kid's dad, Tuna,
Oh,
who's
that's
cheating
right,
on the
that's
mom.
right, that's right.
And then he lifts up a Ziploc, and says that it was a person who fell out of a building and got dragged by a train, and that's all that was left of him. I was like, it's so weird. Like, think that two people sat down and wrote that together. But
Oddly specific.
you ready to get into the snick names, nicknames, prick names for Hair, which was uh, the Oh, I think I have hopefully I have it right. That hair was Carpenter and then I was Hooper. Maybe that is right. Anyway, ready?
Yeah.
Stacy Keach as Richard Coberts. You wanna know some fun facts about this fuckhead?
Go for it.
His mom actually paid for him to have a hair transplant
Hmm.
because they were convinced that if he didn't wear a hairpiece and didn't have hair, he wouldn't get roles in Hollywood, so they actually did it. Didn't really work, and, he was upset by it. There was David Warner, who was Dr. Locke. He was also in Briscoe County Jr., which ties into some of the other people. Sheena Easton, who played Megan, was also in that, which is also Bruce Campbell, who's best, if not good friends with Sam Raimi. So a very
Ev-
interconnected web we weaved.
everything ties together.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So with Stacy Keach, he was also in Escape from LA, which was another John Carpenter film. So, kind of proving my point even further. What do you want to call Hair Guy?
So hair guy, I feel like once upon a time was he not also in Cheech and Chong Up in Smokes?
I'm very ignorant to the Cheech and Chong stuff.
I
I think
feel
I've
like he
seen
was the one of the main cops that like always chases them and tries to get them busted, but never does. I don't know.
he's a fun character actor. He's got just a hell of a voice.
Yeah, I don't know. But I what do you got for him?
I was actually kind of wanting to ramble into this together. At one point, they refer to the haircut that he gets as the Stallion. So I
No,
kind of
that's
wanted to just call
right.
him
Michelle
Stallion.
is funny because Michelle is like, uh-huh, stallion. Mm-hmm. Because
Mhm.
everything that she finds everything that has to do with horses in everything. She's like, oh, it all loops together. That's a horse thing because I'm a horse girl and everything has to be about horses.
Yeah.
Not that I'm resenting that at all.
He was in Up in Smoke. He played the Narcs sergeant. So
Oh,
there you go.
yeah, there you
A
go.
lot of stuff of him as a cop or in other ways, some kind of law enforcement.
Yeah,
He was also in The Simpsons, playing Howard K. Duff the Seventh.
interesting.
Did not know that.
Hmm.
I would have completely changed my opinion of him.
You want to call him Stallion?
Stallion. Yeah, there's
Stallion.
nothing better. David Warner as Dr. Locke. This is the dude who was the photographer in The Omen. He was the doctor in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2:
Oh,
Secret of the
that's
Ooze.
Dickhead.
Dickhead. So we got to call him Dickhead.
Dickhead.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it was Dr. Dickhead, which even fits better in this one because he's a doctor. There you go.
I
You
like
got to
it.
listen to every episode, folks. You'd know what we're talking about if you watch The Omen. And you should watch it because Chad did some great editing on there. It's beautiful. It's immaculate. It's immaculate conception. That's the way Jesus was born.
Keep up with the notes, goons.
Sheena Easton as Megan. She's done tons of voice acting. She is completely bland. She is out of his league. I was just gonna call her out of his league
Yeah, that sounds good.
because she is a babe, and I thought for
Well,
sure she was a prostitute.
she's a total babe, and she's also very much into making him feel better about himself
Right.
and trying to make everything work.
Yeah.
So totally out of his league.
I thought, like I said, when they're sitting together and she's eating and she's placating him, I'm like, oh, for sure, he's like buttering her up, and she's gonna be like, mister, you don't have to feed me. I'll just suck your dick, okay? But then it turns out that she likes him. Whatever. You got Dan Blom as Dennis, the hairstylist. Doesn't need a name. Debbie Harry as the nurse, aka Blondie.
Her name was Blondie.
Blondie, the music artist. Yeah, the musician.
Really?
The new wave. That's her.
Wow.
She's as her cameo in this, and she famously said once, "I wish I had invented sex." It's like, damn, that's a very like it's a it sounds like
It shows how ignorant I am when it comes to her and who she was. You're like Blondie. I'm like, dude, she has like fucking like she's like a brunette in the film. You're like, yeah, you're a fucking moron. So go on.
there's that song where they remix her with a Doors song, and it's the worst thing ever. So I probably haven't listened to Blondie in about 15 years because of that.
I've
It's awful.
I don't know anything about Blondie. Shocker. Does she sing Ring My Bell?
That is Donna Summer,
Oh.
right?
Okay.
I
Maybe.
think I'm sure about that.
Moving on.
I don't know. One of our good friends is Prima Donna Summer is his drag name, so I don't want to be getting that incorrect. Ring my bell. And Chad just farted to fill the time. I was wrong. It's Anita Ward.
Anita
Wow,
Ward.
I'm just the
How you-
dumbest.
So fucking wrong.
Jesus,
Okay.
Brian.
Yep.
Anyway, it starts with a close-up shot of his scalp. There's a commercial for this hair procedure. He's combing his hair. He combing it forward to try and hide the receding hairline. His date shows up. She asks him what's wrong. He says nothing. As they're sitting there, he's asking about the hair. She says, "Oh no, you're handsome." And again, I'm thinking she's buttering him up. Like,
Right,
come
right,
on,
right.
miss.
She wants to get paid.
I want an extra $50. And he gets defensive and she laughs and says that he's behaving like a baby. And he's like, why
He's like,
not?
"What? Because I have hair like a baby? Oh man, everything that you say is gonna fucking turn around and backfire."
Yeah. So she offers to get him an appointment with her hairstylist, and he's like, "Ah, blah, blah," and then he puts on his hair piece, and she's like,
Oh, dude,
no.
it is so fucking bad.
Yeah. It reminds me of Kevin Malone from The Office. Is that Ashton Kutcher? So then he's at the salon, and he's like, no, 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 don't cut it. Just style it. And that's just kind of a long scene.
Right. The guy takes it, fucking throws it in a trash can, and then he just mentions over and over again, "Don't cut my hair. I just want you to style it."
Yeah.
Right.
And as he walks out, he sees a cool guy with sunglasses. There's smooth music. There's a lady with long hair. There's a guy with long hair. There's another guy with long hair with a dog.
That was pretty fun.
The dog was the funniest part.
Right.
That's the
Absolutely.
punchline of the scene. The long-haired whatever dog.
The long-haired, fun, long-haired dog.
Yep. Then it goes back to his home. And this is where you can tell the budget of this. There's 3 settings. There's his house, the salon, and the doctor's office. That's it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, that's one of the things I like about short films and short media is like, do we need other locations?
Yeah.
To
you
tell
don't.
a story
You don't.
about
Absolutely.
implanted aliens, you don't.
I mean, it's all essentially dialogue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they sell it. So, I personally like this one a lot because it's lighthearted and they sandwiched it between 2 kind of scary ones and more serious ones.
Yeah.
Right.
I think in order to be a horror, ending with I is probably the
Yeah.
best choice because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the most horrific for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
For reasons we'll get into, namely Mark Hamill's ball sack and tainted balls.
Or his sweet ass mustache.
Or a sweet ass. So he goes home. He has a bunch of stuff, beauty products rather. One of the things is extracted lamb fetus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh. He sprays down his hair like Zack Ryder. You know who that is? He's a
No.
pro wrestler who seems very charming. I listened to him on a podcast where he was talking with Cody Rhodes about their mutual love of all things like theme park. And he talked about a story where he put, he has like the fake hair powder that he put on and it smeared on the backseat of a ride that he went on with his date. Could you imagine how fucking embarrassing that would be?
That's awful.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So the
There's
girlfriend shows up.
There's no going back from that.
Yeah. She's like, "Did you paint your head?" And he's like, "Yeah, I painted my head."
And she kisses his head.
No. And then she gets the black lips. It's so good.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it reminds me of, well, I mean, there's a lot of things that it reminds me of.
I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of movie where there's black ink on binoculars and
Oh, yeah.
somebody puts their eyeball, up to their eyes and
For
then
sure.
it looks like they have fucking glasses.
It reminds me of Ben Stiller's wife, the chick who played Marcia in Zoolander after she kisses him and she has the black lips. That's what I thought of.
I was like Ben Stiller and Something About Mary, where she takes the fucking
Ew, the cum hair. I wonder if Stacy Keach had used cum in his hair, if it would have grown better or worse. I
possibility.
hear it's full of protein. So she gets agitated and she's upset that he bought all the stuff and she leaves. Then he sees the commercial about, well, first he sees a commercial about hair. He sees another commercial that shows grass growing.
Grass growing, right?
Then he gets the Roswell hair growth.
Right.
Then he goes to the office. He comes in wearing a beret and sunglasses, and I was like, 10 hot, soldier.
Which is fun, right? Okay, so let's go back to the actual name, right? It's a little bit of a foreshadowing,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Roswell hair growth. Okay. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, Roswell, it ends well.
Exactly.
So he comes in. They talk about the patented protein solution, which is what I call jism. The nurse is very sexy. She's like, "Oh, everything you say is so great. Everything you do is so great."
Blondie?
Yep. You knew that at first? So the doctor then talks. He kind of like tries to reverse psychology. He's like,
He's like, well, I don't know if you're ready for this.
Yeah, there's some benefits to being bald, like nobody noticing you because you suck. And he's like, I don't want to suck. I want people to notice me and my fancy hair.
Shit.
So then he shows him the hairstyles on the computer.
Yeah, right. It's funny because this is clearly 93.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're like, we have fun computer graphics where we show your face and we insert all kinds of fun hairstyles.
The
And
Republican? I was like, "God, that's hilarious."
don't they say something like, "Oh, it's too conservative" or
Yeah.
something?
And then, he talks about wanting the hair, and she says they want something bold and sexy, and she's like, "Sexy." And then he gets the long stallion hair, and she literally says, "Giddy up."
Yep.
I love it because she's so buttering him up. She's like the plant
Yeah,
in
absolutely,
yeah. So,
absolutely. So he asks how it works. He says, "There's no surgery, right?" He's like, "No, no, man. We just rub this shit on your scalp, this jism, and then put the bandage on. When you wake up the next morning, you'll have a fucking head full of hair."
yep. So he wakes up the next morning, unbandages his head, a lock of long, luxurious hair
That's
pops
fun.
out, and he's like hooting and hollering with glee. And it's like it seems overacted, but like if you think about the way that some dudes are about their hair, like
Yeah,
I totally think that's a legitimate response for a lot of people.
yeah, I think so as well. And I was talking about this with you earlier. Um, I feel like it's something where you don't really understand it until it happens to you, right? Because I'm like, yeah, I would never. I'm just gonna as soon as I start losing my hair, I'm going to shave it. I'm just going to shave it and go bald and
Yep.
be done with it. But then there's others that are just like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna fight for this shit and I'm gonna pay however much money it costs, like fucking Bosley or whatever that costs like fucking thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah. If you see Joe Rogan, he's got a gnarly scar on the back of his neck that looks like somebody started scalping him because that's where they took the hair roots to put on the top of his head. And so he's even talked about he wishes he just went bald like 20 years ago because
Really?
yeah, it's a gnarly scar. Like when I saw him live in stand up and I met him afterwards, I was like, "What the fuck? Like that's awful." It looks like
Yeah,
gangrenous.
yeah, that's crazy.
But people are willing to
Ooh.
do it. So the girlfriend ends up seeing it. Oh, there's a little montage where he's, like, doing the lines, like, "Oh, yeah, it is real. You wanna touch it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's like it gives me all my strength," making a Samson joke. Then girlfriend comes over, they start macking, she says he's an
Yeah,
animal,
she's like
he
yeah, he's
growls at her.
he's like an animal.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
I was like, "Hey, Rob Schneider." Zing. She licks his face while he's
Yeah,
asleep.
after they fucking do the coitus,
Mhm.
she licks his face, he wakes up, yada yada. She leaves.
Yeah, he says he has a sore throat, he goes and gargles. He's at the salon. By this point, his hair is
His hair
hanging well
grows
below his
like
butt.
6 inches or
Sex
something
inches.
since he woke up, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
You know.
So he coughs while he's in the chair, alluding to there still being a problem. And then when you see the hair that's been cut on the floor, you see some of it crawling away, which is a lot more interesting than I thought. I mean,
Yeah.
I was expecting hair to be the way I was, and so when this had the twist, it made I a little bit more refreshing.
Yeah, I was essentially going into this thinking he was going to be Cousin It.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. I'm like, "Okay, well, yeah, nobody's gonna wanna fucking date that because you have hair literally everywhere."
yeah.
But no, it was pretty interesting.
So he's at home. He's feeling ill. He cancels his date with his girlfriend. He
He has,
checks.
like, fucking face sores. Like, they're starting.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
after he falls asleep, they become huge
Yeah, exactly.
because he seems so exhausted he can't even finish looking up something in the phone book,
Right.
and he ends up
"What's a
passing out.
phone book?"
Yeah, right. When he wakes up, there's the terrible jazz music, and the face is covered in these deep
Yep.
pock sores, and his girlfriend accuses him of cheating on her, which is just weird. Like,
Yeah, that was a little strange.
I feel like this is a Twilight Zone episode more so, and it's like remember that episode where the girl, undergoes the plastic surgery, but then she's totally beautiful, but then all the other characters are like these weird faced people with the weird noses and the cheek. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, well, I just spoiled the twist for you because her whole face is bandaged the whole fucking time, and then by the end of it, you realize that it's the standards of beauty of this society. I feel
God
like
damn
that's what
it.
it is.
Next time it's Thanksgiving and Sci-Fi Channel has a fucking Twilight Zone marathon. I'm just gonna skip that one, motherfucker.
Sorry, dude. Dude. So, yeah, he sees the hair in his throat, pulls it out. He ends up like
It, like, squeals,
yeah,
right?
he cuts it. It bites him because it's like a little snake monster, and he's like, "What?" And one
And
of them like crawls out of his face and goes behind his ear, which I thought was kind of a fun effect.
yeah, that was really gross. That was really gross. So this is where he goes back to the doctor,
Dr.
right?
Locke,
Dr. Locke.
Dr.
And
Dickhead.
he's like, "What the fuck? Why did you do this? What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, you humans are all fucking super vain and
You earthlings are terrible.
full of yourselves. And we came here because apparently your brains are super full of nutrients that we need, right?" And you know,
Scrum tiddlyumptious.
he talks about how the nurse needs to take him into kind of like a side room, or I don't know what the fuck he says. What is
Mhm.
it called? Like a depository, something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and then he says, "And then bring in the next patient."
Right, right. And then
Showing,
he
like,
he kind of like zones out at this point, and it kind of makes it seem like maybe whatever the snakes,
well, they come out of his eye at one point,
the doctor's eye.
but
Yeah.
they also come out of Stacy
Oh, they
Keach's eye.
do.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because that's what then it goes to the doctor's eye. So at this point, you realize that the snakes are already in his brain, which is why he's like a vegetable.
Right, and that's when he becomes like a vegetative state.
So when the episode ended, my wife was like, "Oh, that's like a total episode of Black Mirror," and I was like, "Well, actually not that far off." Like
Yeah.
attacking a societal norm, like, "Oh, we're upvoting, we're downvoting," and it's like, "Oh, we're vain people, so we're all pieces of shit, and we need to end feeling bad about ourselves." I don't like Black Mirror. I'm gonna say it. Every fucking episode makes me feel dirty and bad,
I
except for the video game episode. I like that one.
Michelle and I literally watched the first episode where the guy had to fuck a pig. I was like, "Nah, you know what? I'll pass."
Yeah, no thanks. So then it's the morgue again.
Goes back to the morgue again.
I love
Right.
that John Carpenter sees his own reflection and gets scared. Such a terrible bit, but it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a bit slapsticky when it comes to slapstick.
Schlapadesticky.
When it comes to kind of bouncing from having a fun, lighthearted one like Hair to this where he's also just kind of like a comedic relief. But it would be weird for him to change.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess it definitely makes sense.
So he runs out of formaldehyde and he goes into a jar that has an eye in it and he
Right.
pours it out and it has, the eye is like the olive in a martini and he toasts saying, "Here's looking at you, kid."
I like it.
I totally pop for it.
That's
It's so
good.
stupid, but I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It works. It works.
So you ready for nicknames for eye?
Yeah, let's do it.
Mark Hamill as Brent Matthews. What can you call him besides Luke Skywalker? We talked about it. You said you were going to call him Stash what?
I was gonna call him Mark Hamillstash.
And I was going to call him Luke Stash Walker. So
Luke
some
Stashwalker works.
it's so long though. So let's call him Stash Walker, yeah?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
cuts
yeah.
down one syllable. Then there's Twiggy, whose real name is Dame Leslie Lawson, playing Kathy Matthews. Apparently, she was a British model and who attempted acting, and then she was in A Tales from the Crypt. She sucks.
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
sucks bad.
Um,
I was gonna call her Brit Tucky because she's clearly got a
yeah, I
British
was gonna
accent.
say
And she's trying to be
Southern Brit, but Brit Tucky works.
Brit Tucky.
Brit Tuck.
There, Brit Tucky. John Ager as Dr. Lang. He was in The Mole People and Nightbreed. So I don't know if that
That's
means anything.
interesting.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think he. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have known if he was in anything other than this. But he just seemed like such a genuine doctor in this. Like I believe that he was a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they just picked some random doctor off the street.
He did
No,
a good job.
yeah,
He doesn't really need a nickname, right? Next was Dr. Bregman was played by Roger Corman. This motherfucker has 418 producing credits on IMDb, 56 directing credits. He was in Dino Shark. He was in Sharktopus. He was in The Howling, and he was in Silence of the Lambs. Oh, also responsible for The Fast and Furious. From 1954, the fuck out of here, Vin Diesel. Go be a tree.
Vin D's nuts.
Oh, shit, Jerry. We have Charles Napier as the baseball team manager. You'll remember he's the guy with the voice. He's in Silence of the Lambs. He's one of like
Really?
the local boy cops.
Huh.
And then he
Nothing.
was also in a show called God, the Devil, and Bob, which I tried to watch on YouTube because I remembered the name. It is so bad.
Okay. Well.
Oh my God. It's like they took the animation style of The Critic and then shit on it and smeared the shit on my YouTube player. Then there's Eddie Velez as baseball player. Doesn't even get a name.
Nothing.
Fucking Eddie Velez, am I right? You know what they say about Eddie Velez behind his back.
So essentially, it starts out with uh, Luke Stashwalker. So
Yeah.
fuck it. You clearly see Luke Skywalker with a mustache.
So
That's
first, he's at
all.
bat and he's got the helmet and the targeting system's on, and then you hear Obi-Wan, he's like, "Use the Force, Luke." So he takes it off, and he hits a home run, and the Death Star explodes.
Right. It goes to the him being inside the locker room. He's talking to a buddy of his that's on the team. He's like, "Oh man, it's only gonna be a matter of time before you get brought up to the big leagues." He's like, "Oh, yada yada. Well, I gotta go talk to my wife." He's like, "Dude, that's really weird that you love your wife so much," which kind of insinuates that like baseball players have like side pieces,
And why not?
which I feel like they probably
Yeah.
do.
I love it, the way he phrased it was not natural, and I was like, "Ugh, this sounds so much worse."
Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, I feel like that is a thing. I feel like baseball players have, like, spring training side pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a thing, and it's really gross.
Just slinging dick around.
Uh,
Clayton Kershaw, you're gonna make $71 million and just get one vagina? Come on now, dog.
you took that back.
I knew it would rile you up.
Clayton Kershaw is a god among men.
Not many things are sacred to Brian. Clayton Kershaw, heavy metal music. So when he talks to his wife, she alludes to the fact that she has a surprise for him.
Right.
And you see her putting a to dad from mom card on an object. And she's like, hurry home. And he's like, I'll come fuck you when I wanna. But he says something plucky about like, I'm gonna drive real fast and reckless because I'm like one of those sons of guns. And he's driving in the rain.
Driving of course, driving in the rain,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Driving in the rain. He was picking at some box with a bunch of, like,
Cassette
box
tapes.
cassettes?
Yep.
What are cassettes?
Jesus.
Just kidding.
You fooled me once, fuck boy.
Okay, so he was trying to find a sweet ass fucking cassette, probably Van Halen or Leonard Skinner or something.
Based on the time period, I think this is Van Hagar.
Van Hagar. Okay, sounds good. So he's trying to slam some sweet ass Van Hagar into his fucking cassette deck. Is that what it's called? Deck?
Yeah.
Cassette deck something. Um, he keeps glancing up the road. Finally reaches down.
Well, he undoes his
That's right.
seatbelt in
That's
order
right.
to
Of
make sure he can
course,
reach it.
he takes off his seatbelt. He grabs the fucking Van Hagar. Is about to slam it in. He looks up. He's going straight fucking for a big ass tree. Uh, Slams into it. Some people come try and pull him out of the car. You see a fucking sweet ass like piece of glass just fucking slammed like I fucked
Yep.
into his skull.
And I
Right?
verified it. It definitely is Van Hagar because he doesn't leave until 96. I love me my Van Halen, and I even like Van Hagar. So I was like, I want to make sure it's not the third guy whose name I've decided I will never remember. I have purposefully never remembered the third singer's name.
Okay,
Either.
fair enough.
But yeah, it reminds me of the pulling the glass out of the eye, Brightburn. When in the trailer, when the lady's doing that, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that
Okay.
that's in the trailer is awesome. Like, it shows how far we've come as a culture, right? You couldn't have Ricky and Lucy sleep in the same bed, but here's some skank pulling glass out of her eye on a goddamn commercial.
Yeah, I like it.
So we cut to the hospital, and Luke Stash Walker's got his bandages on his face.
He's like, but Doc, I gotta play baseball.
Now's my time. And so his first concern is seeing the ball, not seeing his wife again, not anything
Nope,
else.
nothing.
Which I can understand as a guy who's it seems that he's the chief breadwinner.
Right, that's what I was getting at. It
Well, he
seems
doesn't.
like it's like, well, I mean, I have to provide for the family. So, I mean, I was essentially a baseball player. What good am I if I only have one eyeball? So,
Yep.
makes sense.
So then the one doctor says that he's developed a method of eye transplantation. The other doctor admits plainly that he is
Yeah.
very suspicious of it, which I thought was interesting. So, do you think it's shitty that he was given a brown eye? A little bit of a
I like
butthole
it.
joke.
I like it. Actually, one of the top pitchers in baseball, Max Scherzer, has a blue eye and a brown eye.
Heterochromia.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Tim
fucking
McIlrath
cool.
from Rise Against has it too.
It's really cool. Yeah.
So long story short, they belabor it a little bit, but he ends up getting the eye transplant. And
You know what? I like the whole scene where he gets the eyeball and it's all bloody around his eye,
yeah,
right? I thought
and
that
the
was really
wife is
cool.
getting, like, preached at. I remember being like, "That's intense,"
That
but
was weird.
it's
Yeah.
fun. It sets a very severe tone for it.
Right.
So Doctor, Lang says that the surgery was as smooth as silk. They put a patch over his good eye and they under the bloody eye. And he
Like,
sees his wife, and his first words to her are, "I like your hair tied back that way." I was like, "See, he is a sweet guy."
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
His what would be perceived as selfish nature of, "Oh, but I want to see the baseball," is kind of undone by this. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it shows him in the recovery room. He's watching baseball on TV,
Yep.
right?
Then he
And
realizes baseball's boring and turns it off. That's not what happened. Sorry.
no, yeah, he's watching it and then he gets a sharp pain, right? It's like a flash.
Yep.
And that's like your first hint of maybe something's wrong,
Yeah.
right? And then that's when he gets upset because he feels like maybe he's straining his eye. He turns off the TV.
You remember Duck Hunt?
Yes.
You remember the sound of the gun makes when the screen briefly flashes? Because what the zapper gun is doing is it's just a light reader, and so what happens is when you're shooting the duck, when you click it, it turns the screen black, and where the duck is becomes a white cube, and when you shoot it, if you're correct, that's what registers. So, the way that the flashes were, when it would flash on the screen and the sound effect, the whoosh,
Yeah.
reminded me exactly of Duck Hunt, and I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
can
"This
see
is
that.
distracting."
I'm just waiting for it to go.
Then I'm the dog. So he gets upset with the TV. He kind of like violently grabs her hair, but doesn't like hurt her, but it just shows like the kind of manic nature rising.
Right.
They put in the blue lens to match, and I was so relieved that they actually used a blue lens and it wasn't just like his other eye. Because you could see them totally cheaping out and be like, "Oh wow, we got a really good match. Look at my eyes. You can't tell the difference." So then they go home. And you can
Right.
tell this is not California, and you can tell it's not the 2000s because he just leaves the window open on his car. Like, "Bitch, you're gonna get your shit stole."
I didn't even notice that.
I was so like, "That's not normal."
Yeah, and it's funny because you did, mention, or in the notes at least, that the wife has a British accent, which I also was like, "That's weird. Where did he meet her?"
Well, she tries to do Southern. That's the thing, she's just a
But
shitty
it
actress.
goes it bleeds through
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wavelengths where it's like, "Super British, the Queen, cheerio, pip pip,
I mean,
to
maybe he played
yo dum."
baseball overseas. I
Do they I think we mean cricket. That's what they call it.
It's a little far-fetched.
So wife wants to show the surprise. There's a present on the floor. To dad from mom. "Oh, I'm gonna be a
"Oh my
daddy."
god, I'm gonna be a dad. That's so sweet."
And then he's like, "Oh, no. Oh, no.
I gotta go.
Sorry. I think I hear my mom calling for supper. Gotta go, bye." And she's worried, and, he's clearly concerned about the financial situation. He looks out the window and sees the stakes in the wheelbarrow and kinda stares at it for a while.
Right, right. Which is a little weird, right? Because they don't actually have any kind of emphasis on what that is at any point before this.
Yeah.
It was just some random stakes and dirt pile in the backyard. I guess he was working on doing some landscaping, but whatever.
So he opens the present and it's a crib, and there was a cute little joke. "What? A crib? I thought this was a present for me." Like, that's cute.
Yeah,
That's a
that's pretty
dad
good.
joke. "You'll be great at this, Mark Stash Mill." That's what you call him? Stash Skywalker.
I like it.
Guy with a mustache from the Guyver. That's what we called him?
Yeah, yeah.
The Stashker. I got plenty of them. That was the Joker. Nothing? Okay. Uh, there's a bunch of shit. Oh, yeah, he
So
pretty much it comes down to he wants to take his wife to Bone Zone, and she's like, "Temporary hiatus." But I like that he's so ignorant. He's like, "Well, can't we have sex if you're pregnant?" And she's like, "No, it's not that I'm pregnant. It's the
it's
fact you got a
just
fucked up face, dog."
yeah, it's just that, like, I think she says, "I don't feel sexy right now."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Okay."
And he's like, "Is it the eye? I can put my contact lens in." And he's like already there. He licks his finger, gets the eye and puts it in. I was like, "Ugh, you nasty boy. Like, you need to jerk it yourself."
Meanwhile, he's licking his fingers, licking the contact, putting it in. It's all his own fucking germs. Whatever.
I don't think that's how it works. I think he's gonna get infected.
He's gonna get some fucking weird ass pink eye.
Well, then also,
'Cause he scratched his fucking butthole
Yeah,
before that?
for sure he did. For sure he did. But the wife apologizes to him for not wanting to fuck him.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's
That was really
this
weird.
is a sign of the times. Ladies, never apologize to a man if you don't wanna fuck him. You just tell him, "I don't wanna fuck you," and then he goes out and he buys a flashlight because it's 21st century and we are above such petty things as lust
"That's
nowadays,
my
right?
purse. I don't know you."
So, he starts having these violent flashes when he sees the corpse. I put
Oh, big titty
Yeah, he
corpse.
says, "Looked outside, sees tittied corpse rising from grave."
That's
He
right, big titty.
he gets the flash, has the headache, goes to the backyard. She calls him inside. She goes, takes her keys, and she's going off to work.
He
He
Is this where he sees, hands grabbing or no, a leg? Is it a leg in the ground?
I think it's a little bit before that because he has the flashes and gets sassy with her, and she's like, "There's no need to yell."
See, Chad didn't watch this, so he can't be yelling at me saying, "No, you fucked up because
Well, no,
you're
yours is
jumping
the
ahead,"
next
or
scene because he yells at her, but then he's like, "Oh, did I?" The next scene is
Yeah,
when he's
okay.
digging it up and finds the feet. The next scene is when he has the bloody hand in the garbage
Right, he's
disposal.
at the garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Sees a Yeah, he's clearly seeing something that isn't necessarily his vision. It's something that maybe you're getting the slight hint that, something carried over with the transplant.
Yep. He reads some of the Bible. The wife gets home after dark, and then he started the crib. And when he's in the crib, putting the wall of the crib up, he sees the perspective of a first person perspective from a baby whose mom is yelling at it because it shit all over itself, and she puts a cigarette out on his face.
Super
Jesus,
brutal,
not fan.
super brutal, and, and that actually kinda remind me of, did you ever see Mindhunter?
Oh yeah, 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 on Netflix.
So with Mindhunter, and I mean, I'm sure it has a lot to do with a lot of serial killers, where they just have fucked up childhoods, and I feel like more often than not with these, adult males, they have mothers that were really abusive
Oh yeah,
as kids, and it just carries over for their, like, anger and
look at
aggression
Otis Toole. Look at Ed
towards
Gein.
women.
Yeah, making
Yeah,
them dress like girls and stuff.
yeah, it's fucking
It's
crazy.
probably why Danzig wrote that song. You know,
You think so?
Long Way Back from Hell for sure.
Huh, interesting.
Gotcha. Obviously, the joke was mother, you motherfuckers.
Mother.
Nice. Brian, take a shot.
Take a shot,
Oh,
motherfucker.
Jesus. That's the first time in a long time. So there's more flashes, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So here's where he tries to get frisky again. He's like, come on, let me fuck your face. And she's like, no, don't fuck my face. And so he like holds her down. And normally rape stuff really makes me uncomfortable, but I was so shocked that I was looking at Luke Skywalker's ball sack and taint that it didn't even occur to me that he was assaulting her.
Yeah, it
I
was really
was
weird.
shocked. And
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Chad believed that there was a stunt butt. Or was that you who believed there was a stunt butt?
No, I didn't. I saw a butt, and I was like, "Oh, that's Mark Hamill butt."
Yeah. Clearly not an athlete's
But it
butt.
was more than just a butt, apparently.
It's very smooth. I feel like a baseball player with the squatting posture of at bat is a more of a sinewy, muscly butt.
Yeah, I could see that.
I have nothing to base that on. I'm just speculating. So he bites her
He
to the
bites
point.
the fuck out of her shoulder.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
bleeding. And she's like, "Look what you did." And he's like, "Get out of here." And he's reading the Bible and she's on the couch and she comes up. He's muttering to himself, reading the Bible, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, yeah, it's really strange. It seems like almost the guy that had the eyeball was also maybe like a religious fanatic
I can see that.
because the way he's like reading the scripture over and over again, very kind of almost like a
Zealot, yeah.
zealot. Yeah, almost
Yeah.
like a zealot, right?
He tells her that I see things. He tells her, "I told you to leave me alone." He goes to the doctor and confronts doctor laying in the parking lot. And
Right.
he finds out that the donor was executed
Yeah.
and died in a gas chamber.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah,
right?
John Randall. Oh, what's interesting is they already bring up God before they even do the transplant. And so Mark Hamill's saying, like, "Oh, this is clearly what God's intentions are because he gave us the scientific means to do this." And she's like, "I don't think so." You'd think that somebody who was this religious, if they knew that it came from a murderer, they'd be like,
Right,
"Nope."
right, right. They're like, "Ah, that's a hard pass, dog."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Wild Wild West, where they take the severed heads and they see the last thing that they saw. Remember that? There's
No.
a whole scene where Kevin Kline like reanimates the head by putting light through
Huh.
it, and you use the corneas, and it's like the image was burned into your head. Oh yeah, it's super fun.
It's been so long since I've seen that
They have,
movie.
like, the metal disc things around their head, and the buzzsaw cuts their heads. It's fun. You should check it out.
Huh.
It's ridiculous, but it's kinda fun. They've established that Randall's mother abused him, because he goes to a library and gets to use microfilm.
Right, right, right.
Where is our microfilm? I was just at the library by my house. No microfilm.
Yeah, I remember watching this and, the doctor saying, "Oh, yeah, it's, John Ran" was it John Randall? Randall
Yeah.
something or another. And he's like, "Oh, well, clearly I need to go to do research." And I was looking at Michelle, I was like, "Time to go to the library."
Yep.
You know, when they fucking do the little slides and
She even tells him how to do
Yep.
it, which is like, God damn it, I'm so jealous. Then it goes to him working in the backyard again. He is digging frantically, and she's
Yep.
like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I have to
Clearly
finish digging your grave,
clearly
whore.
digging a grave. I mean, you didn't have to ask. Like, it looks like a fucking grave. Come on.
If it looks like a grave and it walks like a grave, it's a grave.
She's not good at Pictionary.
It's a jackal. It's a jackal." I don't like Family Guy, but I've always thought that was funny because
Yeah,
it's so relatable.
that
Where
was
you're like,
really
God
good.
damn it, why do you keep guessing the same thing? That's like me with my wife with charades because she did not grow up in a family that played charades. So
And I never played
dude,
charades.
I'll try and like mime something at her. We're like in Costco, and I'm trying to like slyly talk shit about somebody next to us, and I'm like, and she's like, "Get with the picture, lady."
Yeah, so if anybody, like, comes and, like, raids your house and the lights turn off, but you guys both have, like are able to see each other, you don't wanna say anything, so you're giving her hand signs, you guys are fucked.
No, she's like, "No, yes, no." Yeah, she would be terrible on a SWAT team. But he drags her inside after tackling her. He ties her hair around the leg of a table,
Which I
and
think is that's pretty brutal.
it's
Like,
very, like, clever.
it is clever, and I feel like you don't see it a lot.
Yeah, I feel like because the further she or the harder she pulls on it, the tighter she's drawing the knot, so it kinda makes sense. But he says that the stuff that the eye makes him see is so damn satisfying. Reminds me very much of Sam Neill in Event Horizon.
Yeah,
"Oh, the things I've seen."
yeah.
And she tries to get him to look in the Bible. Says like, "Oh, your name's in the Bible. It's Brent. It's not John Randall." And he sees two, Brent from whatever her face, Brit Tucky.
You know what this kinda reminds me of? Sorry, this is going a little off topic. What
Do
was
it.
that Michael J. Fox, horror flick?
Back to the Future. Sorry, Teen Wolf, obviously.
Is it Michael J. Fox? I feel like it's Michael J.
I know what
Fox
you're talking
and the
about.
guy
It's not
that
Scanners. It's
he
Frighteners. No, it's
Frighteners. I think it might be Frighteners, no?
no, it's not.
He and the guy
Yeah, it's
gets
Frighteners
he
because there's
gets
Flatliners and yeah.
and he gets, taken over by, like, a guy who killed a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
And he becomes, like, the killer 2.0.
Frighteners, Michael J. Fox. We nailed it. Together, we are the best amateur podcast out there, and all you other amateur podcasts,
It's like
of
a
which
s
there are many,
I
could
forget
suck
what the
my dick.
actor's name is, but he looks like a skinny Busey.
You want me to look at?
No, no,
I just pulled it
it's
up on
fine, it's
IMDb.
fine. The guy, the main, evil dude?
There's nobody named Evil Dude. Is it Ray Linsky? Oh shit, John Aston was in it. Gomez Adams himself.
That
Oh, it's Jake Busey. That's literally his son. Yeah.
I was
When
like,
he said that, I was
it's
like, that's why I wanted to look it up because I'm like, Tomcats.
I was
guys,
like,
what comes
skinny
to mind.
Busey.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, for sure. He's great in Starship Troopers.
We should do that one.
Starship
That's
Troopers?
n
Oh,
Frighteners.
Frighteners. Sure.
Oh,
No,
whatever.
but I'm obsessed with Paul Verhoeven, so we'll bargain together. We'll do Frighteners for you, and we'll do Starship Troopers for me.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. That
Because
works.
it's horrific when you think about it.
Okay.
And then he stabs himself in the eye with the shears, which apparently John Randall used shears to kill his victims. Stabbed himself in the eye to death. And if the right eye offendeth thee, cut it out. Is
Yeah.
what it's on the bloody Bible page. Cut to black, and we go back to John Carpenter in the morgue. So he has the springing eyeglasses. Love those fucking things. Love those. So silly. And he says that with the one eye that Mark Hamill could have become an umpire.
I like that.
Classic bit.
Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
really good.
I
Yeah.
make a lot of jokes about, referees in hockey not being able. I'm like, I'm all for disability rights, but should they really hire the blind to be referees? And then they can never hear me because of the acoustics in the arena, but it's fun to say.
Speaking of which, St. Louis Blues
What the hell happened, right?
fucking doing it. I don't know. I mean, I'm by the end of the series, I was rooting for them.
Yeah, the Blues are my favorite of that division. I have a favorite in each division, and they're my favorite of that
Yeah.
division. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
They always grind it out.
Yeah, and I really miss when they were affiliated with the Chicago Wolves. Chicago Wolves are my second favorite AHL team, and so, yeah, it's kind of a shame that they're now affiliated with the butt fucking Golden Knights. Ugh, God, more like the Golden Showers, am I right?
Some people are into that thing.
Yeah, like Marc-Andre Fleury, you pee man.
Or Mark Hamill stash.
So this is where you realize that John Carpenter's character is actually a corpse because he takes
Yeah,
off the scrubs and he has the
he
hole in
has a
his.
giant hole, right,
Ah,
yeah.
I love the reveal. It's so silly and fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, he lays down and this is where Tom Arnold and Tobe Hooper come and they cut into
Randomly,
himself.
Tom Arnold.
So
What?
weird.
Where did that come from?
No idea. At this point, I think he was already collecting that sweet Roseanne alimony, so what the fuck does he care about working for?
Yeah, buddy.
So, they're weighing his organs, and Tom Arnold says, "What the hell has this guy been drinking, formaldehyde?" And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Tee
good.
hee hee."
That's
And then, they start sawing into his head as it pans out, so when it's spinning, and then it's the John Carpenter type music, and the movie's over, and it's the credits.
it's great.
I love this movie, man.
That it's great.
I love every bit of it.
Yeah. Has just enough humor and just enough gore to have a fun in between. So, I like the way, again, they sandwich the, uh, fright, I guess you'd call it more like a high intensity film in the what is it called? The gas station?
Yeah.
Is it gas station?
I think that
Right.
so in terms of horror, I would rank it 2, 3, 1, but in terms of quality, I would rank it 1, 3,
1,
2.
3, 2.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think that when you're doing a horror anthology, it makes sense to do the most horrific one last, even though I don't think it's the strongest. But it's kind of goes to the point we made earlier where you want your thesis statement to be strong, you want your closing to be the second strongest point, and then you put whatever else in the middle.
Right, right. So the first one has the build up intensity kind of horror to it. The second one has the comedy kind of
It's all silly. The premise is
goofiness to
silly
it.
too, yeah.
Right. And then the third one has more or less the, I guess you would call it the practical horror, right?
Yeah.
Or like with the eyeball, right? Where
Straightforward,
it's
yeah.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
It's like
technically, two of these things kind of involve implantation, but it works,
right.
because even though they say it's not a non-surgical procedure, the fact is they're still implanting him with these alien snake creatures in hair.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I thought it was very effective. Each part is good. It makes me really wish they would have done a full series. So this could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Going back, I love the premise of, instead of a crypt keeper, it's a guy who's like walking around and finds the Tobet tag and is like, oh, what killed this guy? How interesting. Like, let's look at it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I wonder how they would be able to redo the same guy over and over again, right? From every week. If they were to do like once a week or once a month or
Oh, it'd be
whatever,
fun if, like,
right?
as the series progressed, he deteriorated a little bit further
Yeah, that'd be kind of
because, like,
cool.
by the
Like it'd
second
be like
episode.
a American Werewolf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. We should tell them. You know what we should do is we should just send it to Shutter and see if they'll do it. Be like, "Hey, do
Yeah.
this
I
thing."
mean, it would I feel like they would knock it out of the park. What would you say would be like slay of the game?
Slay of the game for me is the guy being crushed in the first one. I love
Same
it.
thing.
I
Yep.
think it's so gnarly because I've been watching a lot of, Ultraman from 1966, and I know you're like, "What the fuck are you doing with your life?" But the original titles for that show, if you've ever seen it, you can find it the whole first season's free on YouTube, and it's paint swirls, and they reverse the thing, so originally it says Ultraman, and it reverses so you can actually see it. It's kinda hard to describe, but the
Huh.
way that the contrast was reminded me of that kind of Technicolor goop, and so that was kinda fun. And so, yeah, what about you? You agree?
Agreed. Agreed.
So
Yep.
now, is this a classic, a slash trashic, or a tragic?
It's trashic.
Yeah. I think that, if it took itself more seriously, it could be a classic, but I mean, not the classic, but I think it's a trashic
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
what's unique about it is since it was only kinda like a one and done, we can actually have it in this category.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
otherwise, we would I don't even know if we would even cover this, right? Because it's
There
like,
are episodes of, like, Tales from the Crypt I'd like to cover,
okay.
but, it's kind of very specific.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
I can
hard
see
too because
that.
we try and make sure that all the content we do on the show is easily found online, whether it's YouTube or Shutter or
Right, right,
Hulu.
right.
And so just getting a one-off episode of Tales from the Crypt is not that easy. I mean,
Yeah,
even with HBO
absolutely.
now, it's kind of hard to coordinate. So
Yep.
now we have a new thing that we've been talking about, which I was calling tips for the well-rounded fright fan, which is just some media that you enjoy. Doesn't matter when it came out. It's just something that you enjoy that was not specifically horror related. I'll go first.
Okay.
I watched the anime Godzilla trilogy on Netflix. It is so fucking weird. I don't anime, right? You guys have animated. I mean, I've seen Akira and that's about it.
Okay.
It is so fucking weird. I don't know if it's weirdness that, like, transcends and it just applies to all anime or if it's just this, but I kinda loved it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've delved into a bit of anime myself, and actually, I feel like I want to introduce you to one of my favorite animes.
A whole
Um,
new world.
exactly.
It's Aladdin.
It's Neon Genesis
Evangelion.
Evangelion.
Yeah. I've seen images of it, but I've
It
never
is
watched it.
fucking absurd. It
Cool.
is crazy good. It's like Gundam, but on steroids, and
Those things are huge, right? The
yeah,
robot things?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. So just
We had
check
some
it out.
great submissions. So I have, a gaffe. I fucked up. We had a bunch of great fan submissions when it came to, potentially doing an anime horror,
Okay.
and the story lapsed, and I don't have them all written down. But I have some.
I want to say, didn't you Van Helsing? But it was a series though,
Yeah,
right?
but in the or was it the conversations on, Instagram, we have a bunch, so I wanted you and Chad to review it because you guys actually know
Yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
anime stuff,
Absolutely.
but it's coming on the horizon. I think probably in
Yeah,
August we'll do one. I think it'll be
that'll
a
be
lot of fun.
fun. That'll be really fun
Because this way, I
because
mean, I'm gonna come into it completely blind as
well,
to.
and what's fun about anime horrors or just anime in general, right? Along with any kind of cartoons, is you're able to have a broader picture when it comes to what you can do
Yeah, there's
within
no
a film,
budget. Yeah.
right? Because it's like, okay, it just depends on what the fuck they want to do when it comes to the animation. They could do anything, and usually, like anime, it's over the top gore, which is great.
I heard so in loo I Google briefly Google searched, like, anime horror, and there was something like Black Bible where it's a bunch of ladies with dicks. Is that a horror one that you're aware of?
That's hentai.
No, that was pornography.
No, I don't know.
Not on my work
I'm
computer. No. No, but it
no,
was
I'm not sure, but
'cause it
it
came up
sounds like
in
hentai.
horror. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I don't know what makes it
If it
scary."
has tentacles and it's girls that have dicks,
I didn't hear I ain't said nothing about tentacles, but I don't know, it was weird, and I was like, is that normal? Is that a thing?"
I haven't heard.
Okay, cool, we'll figure it out
Yeah,
come August.
we'll check it out.
So yeah, what's some media that you enjoyed that's not necessarily horror
I
related?
was gonna go with anime as well,
Okay.
which is really weird because a couple days prior to the wedding, for some reason I got wild hair at my ass and I decided to watch Ninja Scroll, which is like an iconic anime film. Chad, would you agree? Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I feel like is referenced a lot throughout. I forget when it came out, but it has a few cringy scenes, which I feel like
A lot of
maybe
anime does, right?
yeah, exactly.
Because
I
some
feel
of the
like
people who I
maybe
talked about were like, I might steer clear of this even though as a whole it's good, there
right,
are questionable
right. Which
scenes."
is which again, and this is probably delving into other things, but when it comes to like Japanese culture, with them being so like I guess uh
You know what's fun?
timid, very timid, right? They're like, we need to fucking branch out and go all crazy like, and they go overboard.
Ninja Scroll comes out 1993,
Wow. Wow, coincidence.
about 2 months and 3 days before this came out, the
That's
Body
cool.
Bags.
That's really cool.
There you go. Keeping it in the 93s. We
Yeah,
got
buddy.
So I Married an Axe Murderer, Ninja Scroll, this.
Don't add that
No,
to the
no.
list.
You shouldn't say it in the same sentence.
Shouldn't add it to the same sentence.
Bing bong boom. Well, here I'm tying it all together. Charlie in So I Married an Axe Murderer openly talks about his attraction to Josie and the Pussycats, and you're talking about hentai. So I mean, it's the same thing.
I like it. I like
Awesome.
it.
Is that time of the week?
Yeah, buddy. So over here at Slashers Pod, if you ain't watching them dying, you ain't really trying.
And for producer Chad, for Brian, for Jake, I'm reminding you to go out there, rate, subscribe, follow, do all the stuff you got to do to make us rich and famous and successful so we don't have to have day jobs and all we have to do is talk about bullshit. And remember to go out there and do something you love. And remember that all work and no power play makes Jack a dull boy.